This is the Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to the Para Cave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and this is a game review of the round number 6 game in the NRLW of the Parramatta Eels. They took on the North Queensland Cowboys at Commbank Stadium after the NRL game yesterday. It was a 14-10 win to the Cowboys, unfortunately, as that means now that the Parramatta Eels drop out of the top 6 in the NRLW to a 7th spot. The Cowboys jump up to 4th position now after that win. But look, it was a disappointing result, I guess, because the Parramatta Eels, they were ahead 10 points to 2, I think it was, or 10-0, actually, 10-0. And they were 4-0 in front at half-time, but unfortunately in the second half, the Cowboys scored 3 tries. Kira Dibb kicked 1 conversion and ended up winning the game 14 points to 10. So, look, a pretty disappointing result there. There was only the 1 try scored in the first half by Ruben Cherrington, who I think has been one of the star players for the NRLW side this year after missing pretty much all of last year and really making amends for this year, for that anyway, and scored another try in the NRLW. And look, it was her birthday during the week, so it possibly could have been a birthday try as well. So great to see Ruben playing some really good footy there at the dummy half position. Also plays, I think, a bit of lock as well when Tanika Toddhunter comes on the field as well, and they're both on the field. But she's really going really well this season. But look, the crowd attendance was only 1,964. A lot of people did leave after the NRL game, and look, conditions, they were getting a little bit worse after the NRL game. It was raining a bit during the game, which made the ground nice and slippery, but nevertheless, a decent crowd, I guess you could say, to watch that game. I guess the timing of it as well after the NRL game, and it's very hard, I guess, with TV rights and the like. Someone's got to play that 6:15 game in the NRLW, as there's 3 games on the Sunday generally. So it was unfortunately Parramatta's turn to have that 6:15 game, and well, look, everyone's got to do it. So anyway, I stuck around for it. I will watch the NRLW game because I think it's a really good product, and it is only getting better. The hits are getting bigger. Elsie Albert, she pulled off another massive hit. I forget who it was on, but it was a cracker. There's no way I could have been in front of that hit. That is for sure, because it would have flattened me, to be honest. And look, speaking of Elsie Albert, look, I gave her the back-to-back player of the match because absolutely outstanding again, and another player who is making amends for last season. Elsie was out most of last season for Parramatta with injury, and has played all games so far this season and is really carving it up. During this game, 16 runs, 167 metres, 88 post-contact metres, which really shows you how difficult it is to put Elsie down when you're trying to tackle her, and also 25 tackles as well. So look, I did give her the player of the match as well, so that's back to back for her. a magnificent effort, and as I said, really making up for lost time from last year. Look, there was a few controversial moments during the game. There was one on LCL, but about to play the ball as well, to be honest. But looking back on the replay, it did look like she didn't get to her feet before playing the ball and just really sort of mucked it up, which unfortunately was when Parramatta were on the charge in the second half, I believe it was. Just got a penalty, and it was right off the first play from that penalty. So, unfortunately, it wasn't the way it was supposed to go. Look, this game wasn't really an attacking game. There wasn't a lot of points scored, and that may have been due to the weather conditions that were at Commbank Stadium during this game with the rain. Rosemary Beckett, she scored a try as well on her return to the NRLW in the place of Cassie Tohuhiku, who unfortunately got injured last weekend alongside Rory Owen. And look, I think the Eels really sort of miss Rory as well out there, out wide in the centre position. Bit of a strike weapon out there in the centres, and I think possibly Parramatta missed her being out there. Unfortunately, she's going to be out for a few weeks to come, so that is no good for Parramatta. Fleur Jin, she replaced her, played it okay, pretty good, not too bad, but look, Rory Owen's attacking skills are absolutely second to none, so disappointing that she is out for a while. But as I said, the points were scored in the second half by the Cowboys, and look, as I said, it was pretty disappointing for them to do that from a Parramatta fan's perspective, and obviously the team's perspective as well, as they really... There was some stat that came out during the game on the Fox commentary that the last, I think it was 8 games or maybe 10 games or so, that Parramatta have gone into the lead in the second half of games and unfortunately been outscored in that second half in those last 10 games. So that is a bit of a worry going forward in this competition, but obviously you want to be on the other end of that scoring. You want to be on the lead scoring in the second half, because that's the second half of the game. So yeah, it was probably that's something definitely to work on. But look, I just think the ball wasn't getting out wide enough to Martha Mattielli, who is impressing each and every week from her transition from rugby union to rugby league out there on the wing for Parramatta. But unfortunately, the ball just didn't get out to her enough. They didn't have those opportunities. The ball didn't get out wide, and it wasn't a very, as I said, very attacking game for Parramatta. Anyway, congratulations to Mahalia Murphy, who played her 25th NRLW game. A huge special game for her, being the Indigenous round, and of course Tanika Todd-Hunter as well, her teammate as well, proud Indigenous women. But it was very special for Mahalia to play her 25th NRLW game, and unfortunately Parramatta couldn't get the win in this game for her, but nevertheless it was really special. She had a nice jersey presentation by her sister that was on Eels socials during the week, and she also spoke about how special it was for her to be playing in this game and being her 25th game in the NRLW, and it being Indigenous round. So it was also the first time that the Eels had worn the Indigenous jumper in the NRLW, so kudos to them as well. It was a great look. Look, the men wore the same one. It was a great. It is a great looking jersey. I will be definitely adding that one to my Eels jersey collection. That is for sure. I will try to get that one for this weekend's game against South Sydney in the NRL. Look, top performers for the NRLW side last night. LC Albert, 16 runs, 167 metres, 88 pace contact metres. Brianna Eels as well, 15 runs, 156 metres. Abby Church, 12 runs, 110 metres. Also a couple of try-saving tackles as well. That's what you come to expect from Abby each and every week. I think that she has really improved in her form in the last 18 months, and we've seen that representing New South Wales in State of Origin. Key player in this Parramatta side, and probably one of the best things about the crowd not being so big in the NRLW game is you actually get a sense of I guess you could say being on the field, because you can actually hear the players communicating with each other, and especially Abby Church there at fullback. As we all know, that fullback position is one of those positions where you do need to communicate a lot during the game, and you can actually hear those communications between players, which is, it's almost like you're on the field and you get a little bit of a sense of what's going on. And I guess that is one positive, of not having a massive crowd there. But it's good to hear the calls and just seeing something that you don't see on TV or hear on TV, but you get to see it firsthand. Mahalia Murphy, 12 runs, 105 metres. Martha Mattielli, 9 runs, 96 metres. In the tackling department, Ruben Cherrington, 36. Brianna Eels had a big game as well, 30 tackles. Chloe Jackson in the second row, 26 tackles. Elsie Albert, 25. And River Lee Arlo, 24 tackles. So they were your top performers in the game. From an Eels perspective, if we look at the stats of the two sides, it was 52% possession to the Cowboys, 48 to Parramatta. Completion rates, 77% to Parramatta. They had 36 sets, completing 28. The Cowboys 80%, and they had 31 sets. So they actually had less ball than Parramatta, but they were in possession for longer, 26 minutes 01 compared to Parramatta's 24:46. So they only had 31 sets. They completed 25 of those. The run meters, well, look, there was only 2 meters in it. 1,189 to the Cowboys, 1,187 to the Eels. So there was only 1 in it. The average set distance, the Cowboys got about a 6 metre difference there. The play the ball speed was quicker by the Cowboys as well. Offloads 4 to the Cowboys, 3 to the Eels. Missed tackles, that was a bit of a concern for Parramatta. 31 missed tackles, the Cowboys only 16. Penalties 5 each, and Parramatta used 10 interchanges as well. So there was that. That was the NRLW game. A big test for the Eels next week as they travel to Brisbane, I do believe, to play the Broncos. Now, the Broncos, they are on fire at the moment. They are coming second in the competition, I do believe. Yes, they are. They are coming second behind the Sydney Roosters, who are undefeated at the moment, 6 from 6. So, Parramatta, a pretty decent record against the Broncos. They've met 4 times, 2 wins each. Parramatta actually got the last victory last season, which was that round 1 game in Brisbane last season. The Parramatta Eels won 22 points to 10 over the Broncos. Different looking Broncos side this year as Tamika Upton has returned to the Broncos from the Newcastle Knights, but and a different looking Parramatta side as well. Kennedy Cherrington, she should be back this week for this game, which is great news for Parramatta. You want your most, I guess you could say, experienced players back. Kennedy is a representative player for New South Wales and Australia as well, so you definitely want that calibre of player back in your side. So they go up to Brisbane 3:15 p.m. on Saturday to take on the Broncos. So if you are up in Brisbane, get along to that one and support the Eels. The Brisbane Broncos 4 wins out of their last 5 going down to the Roosters this season. The Eels 2 wins out of their last 5. So a little bit of work to do. Parramatta only winning 50% of their games this year. Broncos 83%. So look, that is their next challenge, which will be a difficult one, but it will be very... they'll be up for the challenge. As I said, they have a pretty sort of decent record against the Broncos up there, but they will want to stay in touch with that top 6 position. The top 6 make the finals in the NRLW this season, with the addition of the two new teams in the Bulldogs and the returning Warriors into the competition. So Parramatta, they will want to stay in touch with that top 6, and look, they're going to have to, they will do it tough against Brisbane, but they still have to play the Sydney Roosters as well. So they also have to play the Bulldogs as well, and Titans, I think. So there's a few games that the Eels need to play against. Let's have a look at the draw for Parramatta. So they have Brisbane coming up, and then the Roosters at Commbank Stadium, which will be a double header before the NRL game on the Saturday, the 23rd of August. That game will be played before the men's game, thankfully on the Saturday at 5:15 p.m. And then the Gold Coast Tigers and Bulldogs. So only 5 games, including this one this weekend to go, so in the regular competition. So these games are crucial now for Parramatta to make that top 6, which I think they will be confident going into each and every game, but it will be tough, that is for sure, especially the next 2 weeks. Broncos and Roosters, the 2 top teams in the NRLW at the moment. But look, a bit of a speed bump for the Eels losing that game. As I said, the disappointing part was being ahead. I think it was 10-0, and the Cowboys coming back to run them down, scoring 14 unanswered points. But the Eels, they will learn from that. Another hard week at training to work on what they need to get the victory against the Broncos, that is for sure. Thank you very much for listening to this game review podcast. Parramatta versus the North Queensland Cowboys. I really appreciate the support. It was great to see some listeners out at the Commbank Stadium yesterday. They came up and said g'day, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys and girls listening to the podcast. You can find it on Apple and Spotify, and also please also give me a follow on Instagram and Facebook as well. That would be most appreciated, and share it with your family and friends. That would be most appreciated as well. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.